The sky was blue, the grass was green, the birds were noisy, and the big old apple tree in the front yard had begun to open its thousands of tight pink buds. Dorothy and Annabelle were in their secret hiding place under the porch, putting finishing touches on the birthday cards they were making for Mama. 2 bright May baskets, woven of strips of colored paper, waited to be filled with flowers. And far back under the porch, where it wouldn't get crushed or accidentally tipped over by the girls, was the fern Daddy had helped them buy. There was just one trouble. Daddy was sitting on a porch rocker reading the Portland Oregonian. The girls didn't dare make any noise, or he would hear them, and it usually took Daddy hours to finish reading the Sunday paper. They were trapped. "How's this?" whispered Annabelle, showing her card to Dorothy. Annabelle had drawn a page full of wavy yellow daffodils and unsteady bluebirds. "Shh!" Dorothy pointed up toward the floor of the porch and shook her head violently. Then she went on with her own card, which had a scalloped border outlined in yellow and violet. She was printing "Happy Birthday, Best Mother" in blue, with orange shading to make each letter stand out. The rocker over their heads creaked. Daddy left the porch and strolled off toward Main Street. That was funny. Daddy go to town on a Sunday morning. But no matter. The important thing was that now the coast was clear. "Come on," said Dorothy, fitting her orange and blue crayons back into their box. "Let's go pick flowers." The girls crept cautiously out of their headquarters. They wandered about the house, eyes to the ground, looking for flowers. To fill their baskets. There were plenty to choose from. "Hold out your skirt," said Dorothy. She picked clover blossoms and buttercups, dandelions and blue flax and violets, and put them into Annabelle's cupped pinafore. "How about these?" Annabelle Stowe pointed to Mama's tulip and daffodil bed. Dorothy picked a few of the little ones. "I don't think there are any roses yet, but let's go see." With Annabelle carefully holding her skirt container in front of her knees, the 2 girls went around to the other side of the yard. Here a line of rose bushes formed one boundary of their property. They saw dozens of buds, every one a tight little knob of green. It was hard to believe that fat roses with petals of red or yellow lay wrapped inside these tiny packages. "Shall we pick some buds?" Annabelle sounded doubtful. "They're not pretty yet," Dorothy decided. "Anyway, I think we have enough flowers." The girls crept back into their cave. They heaped the flowers carefully into the May baskets. Annabelle's handle came unstuck and Dorothy helped her paste it back again. As a final touch, each girl hid her birthday card, folded very tiny among the blooms. Dorothy checked to make sure nobody was watching. She carried the potted fern to a hiding place behind the trunk of the apple tree. She tiptoed onto the porch with Annabelle close behind and placed the May baskets to one side of the door. "Ready?" she whispered. Annabelle nodded, 2 fists strapped sharply on the front door. The girls scampered off the porch and hurried to get out of sight behind the apple tree. Peeking around its trunk, they saw the door open. Mama stepped out. She looked up and down the street. Dorothy looked too. Not a soul in sight. Steam from the kitchen had turned slowly toward the front door. Suddenly then she noticed the baskets. Gracious, what beautiful baskets! What lovely flowers! Mama stooped to scoop up the baskets, being careful not to pull on their frail handles. With a basket in the palm of each hand, she smelled one and then the other. What fragrance! I wonder who gave these to me? She asked the air around her in a very clear voice. Mama sat down in the wicker rocker and examined the baskets more closely. She found the notes and unfolded and read them. How pleasant, she said distinctly. Now if I only knew who sent me these wonderful birthday wishes. Annabelle could contain herself no longer. She yanked her arm from Dorothy's grasp and rushed up to the porch. Dorothy followed. Mama hugged and kissed her girls and thanked them kindly. I suppose you think May baskets are babyish, said Dorothy. So do I. I just made one to help Annabelle. I'm not a baby either. Annabelle stamped her foot. I'm 8 years old. I made my own basket. You managed beautifully, both of you, said Mama. She put her arm around Dorothy's shoulders. My birthday wouldn't be the same without the May baskets, Dorothy. I love to keep up old customs. I only hope you'll both want to surprise me every birthday for as long as I live. This isn't everything, said Annabelle, jumping up and down with excitement. There's more. You'll get it, Dorothy. Dorothy ran behind the apple tree and picked up the heavy fern. She clasped the red clay pot to her stomach and peered through fern fronds to see where she was going. Dorothy carried the pot onto the porch and set it down at Mama's feet. The fern's branches spouted up and out like a flowing green fountain. Oh, you wonderful children, said Mama, kissing each daughter in turn. What an enormous fern! It'll look beautiful in the bay window where the rubber plant used to be. Daddy paid for some of it, explained Annabelle. We didn't have enough money. Are you sure you wouldn't rather have had new stockings? Asked Dorothy. Not cotton stockings, real silk ones for dressing up? I prefer the fern, said Mama firmly. I wouldn't trade it for stockings, not for all the tea in China. Dorothy smiled with satisfaction. She knew that was what Mama would say. Mama looked around. Where's your daddy? I want to thank him too. He went downtown, said Dorothy. What for? I don't know. I just hope he gets back before my dinner is overcooked. Dorothy, why don't you practice now before we eat? Oh, Mama, do I have to practice today on your birthday? Mama hesitated a moment, then she smiled. All right, we'll let it go. I guess one day away from the piano won't make too much difference. She picked up the plant. Don't go far from the house, girls. I'll be calling you to dinner soon. Mama and the fern disappeared inside. What'll we do now? Annabelle asked. Let's play sick, said Dorothy promptly. She ran to the side yard where the rose bushes were. Come on, Annabelle, you be the nurse. I was nurse last time, Annabelle protested. I said it first, said Dorothy. She lay comfortably up a slight slope. I'm sick, she announced, to take my temperature. Annabelle broke a branch off a rose bush and carefully removed leaves, buds, and sharp green thorns. She stuck this thermometer into her patient's mouth. While she waited for it to register, she felt Dorothy's head with her wrist. You're feverish, she said. I'll have to put on a cold compress. Annabelle picked some of the biggest rose bush leaves and placed them over Dorothy's forehead. Then she removed the thermometer from Dorothy's mouth and squinted at it gravely. You're really quite ill. You've got la grippe. I'm afraid you'll have to eat this bud-tasting medicine. Annabelle began to roll some grass into pills, but Dorothy said, not grass. This time the medicine has to be bread and butter. "What if Mama's in the kitchen?" said Annabelle. Both girls knew that Mama did not allow eating between meals, and most especially not before Sunday dinner. On Sundays, the family ate its main meal at midday. "Wait until she goes out," said Dorothy. Annabelle left her patient and trotted obediently off toward the back door. Dorothy lay with the sun on her eyelids while her imagination followed Annabelle into the kitchen. She saw Annabelle cutting a slice of Mama's crusty white bread. Dorothy's mouth watered. She hoped it would be a thick slice, and that Annabelle would remember to spread the butter evenly to all the edges. Annabelle returned into her charge under the rose bush. She broke the bread into pill-sized bites and began to feed them to the sick patient. Dorothy tried to pretend the pills were bitter and she didn't want them. This was hard to do because the bread really was delicious. Soon the slice was all gone. "I'm definitely better," Dorothy announced to her nurse. "But I'm not all well yet. I need more pills. This time put apricot jam on top of the butter." "If I do it, will you let me eat some pills too?" "But you're not sick." "Let's take turns then," begged Annabelle. "It's my turn to be sick." Before Dorothy could reply, she heard a long, shrill whistle. She would recognize that whistle anywhere. She brushed the leaves from her forehead and jumped to her feet. "Daddy's coming. Let's go meet him." But Annabelle knew the whistle as well as anybody. She was already streaking off down the street. To Dorothy's surprise, Daddy was not walking. "Where did you get the bicycle?" she shouted as she ran toward him. "Who is it for?" Okay, guys, that's chapter 4 of The Shy One. And next week we'll read chapter 5, Another Present from Mama. I hope that you enjoyed this bedtime story, and I hope that you are drifting off to sleep.